What's up, guys? I'm back again, Caius. 2 times in one day, right? We're here with the second build guide. This one is going to be an Ice Spear Totem Hierophant. It's a build I'm very familiar with. I've probably played it 7 or 8 times. I've played Divine Iron Totems a bunch. I've played Arc Totems a few times. Totems are something I love and thrive on. And we're kind of going to show what the potential of this build could be and go from there. And I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised to see the damage. If you just watched my Ice Shot one and how hard you have to work to get some of the damage on that build, which I'm probably going to league start regardless, this one doesn't even have to fucking try. Like, it's silly. Ice Spear Totems aren't necessarily for everyone. They can have a little bit of delay, but you could also swap to Freezing Pulse for mapping and Ice Spear for single target. But I'm just going to go all in with Ice Spear when I eventually do come around to this build. So we do have it capped out. So it's up to you to figure out what you want to do. But generally, when I do a totem build, you want to kind of go over here and go down this way, grab the cast speed, which is very important. Work your way over here, grab some Divine Judgment, get to the +1 totem, and then honestly, I've always just gone right into totems. Not the smartest, but it's fun. And then you have all this totem stuff. And after you, it's up to you how you want to scale. You can save the cluster for way later. There's some good cold nodes now. And then we have some more cast speed that we're going to pick up. Cast speed, and then there's easy crit. Ice Spear, for people that don't know, just gets an absurd amount of crit for free. So pretty much what happens, it shoots off, and then after a short duration, as it travels, it will transform and you just get 600% increased crit chance and a bonus multi. And it also gets like insane speed, and this will just go through a bunch of shit. It's important to note too that Ice Spear, once it's in its final stage, will pierce everything. Now, the only time it can be bad is if you put your totem right next to somebody. That's where you'll struggle, because it will hit the enemy and it won't pierce because it will never get to the second stage. So stuff like projectile speed will help this. It comes with 40 on it. I believe that's from the quality. So the quality is very big, and levels for Ice Spear are very big. So we're kind of going to go over the tree first, and then we'll go over the damage. As you can see, we got a full DPS of 20 mil, and I'll kind of show the gear we're doing that with. And this can scale much higher, and I'll kind of show you some of the potential. It's expensive. It's probably more expensive this league, but we'll go into it. So for the tree, we're going to just go over the masteries. You can kind of see what we got here. So the first one we're going to pick up is the 15% increased maximum life. This doesn't have the best survivability. This isn't like other builds that run Determination Grace. Totem builds generally, you put your toes down and you run with a chicken, like a chicken without a head. That's what you're pretty much doing. You're just trying to survive. But I actually might have some theories we'll go into later about that, and I'll actually put some notes here. Arctic Armor Veil. Put that right there. We'll get around to it, and I'll save that so it's there. So pick up the Light Mastery. Elemental, again, this node is showing to be insane. So, especially when you have 5 totems hidden, that's going to be, their resistors are going to be inverted all the time. Why wouldn't you take that? I actually think it's going to be an insane node. And then we take this, which didn't take the right thing. Oh, wait, we're not using Reservation. That's right, sorry. We're not actually reserving any mana, really. So I could take that. That might actually be the best thing to do. Yeah, we'll do that, because we're going to be guard skilling. Anyway. Totem Mastery. Didn't take one. You could definitely take this. So if they're nearby your totems, I think there's a thing for that. There should be a thing for that. Wait. Is there actually not a thing for that? That's crazy. Wait, are you... That's crazy. Okay. I don't know. Oh, no. I'm dumb. Okay. I already took the one on. But you can take stuff like this. 5% damage for hits take of your nearest totem. It'll help you survive a little bit. This is garbage. If it would stack with multi-totem, it could potentially be okay. But the fact that it doesn't is insane. This is okay. But there's nothing really, like, crazy you have to have here. But, we don't take anything here, because we have it elsewhere. Crit Mastery, we take elsewhere, so we don't really need that. Although, this could be potentially good if we needed it, but we don't. We then go down here. That's where we got our 50 life. That life mastery down there, the quick recovery wheel. On the Shaman's Domain, which is the totem crit wheel, that's where we just take 60% increased global crit chance. If you summon a totem recently, you're going to be summoning them constantly. The cast speed one didn't really have anything where I was like, shit, I need that. Because you're really casting totems. You're not doing too much else. So yeah, that's that. Life Mastery, you don't need anything there. Then we kind of go up over here. I didn't take anything up here in Cold Mastery, because didn't really need to. Like, you're going to have that already. So, on Cold Mastery, this one's cool, because you're going to get pretty much a 10% increased damage that the enemy takes from being chilled. And then, again, if the freeze thing works, which I think it will, which will enable it later, that's another 50%. So, 60% here. For our cluster, we're going to get a large cold cluster. Chance to blind. That's just there. I just did it for the elemental damage. You're actually not going to really be blinding because you're not casting it yourself. Damage pen. And then some resist and some damage. The resist is important, and we'll get into it. And I'll kind of show what the goal is for the build, which you can work towards. Like, I don't have early build stuff on this one, so I'm just kind of showing it off. We then got this, which... Totem. It's a totem medium jewel. So this in a sense is 10% increased cast speed because you're going to always summon totems. And then onslaught, which is another 20%. So just a bunch of cast speed, which will help your spear. See, we're barely hitting 2.1, which is what you want to be at about. You need to get around there. We then get increased projectile damage. So this is the projectile node, and some attacks has to be there. And then we're also just getting a bunch of damage to nearby enemies. Okay, so nothing too crazy there. We then pick up Crit Mastery over here with the multi against unique enemies. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the tree. And obviously don't forget to take Ancestral Bond. And then I actually wanted to mess around and try a Scion one later or a Ranger one. But the issue is a lot of the good stuff's over here. But maybe I'll make a Ranger variant just to see. Because you don't need a lot of crit. And stuff like... Not this, but stuff like this just seems very good, getting more projectile speed. And even the first one, since it pierces everything, the first node might be good too. So projectile masteries might be the way to go. I'll have to mess around with it, because you do have some crit around here. I can pick up Assassination. I can pick up Heart Seeker. The only thing that sucks is you're losing +1 totem. Which I don't know if that's worth. You're getting 2 projectiles, but you're losing a totem. You're actually losing 2, because it's going to be so hard to path over here. You're going to waste so many points. So maybe... Huh. Maybe I'll do an Ascendant one, and I'll put it up later. Anyway, getting sidetracked. We'll go right to the skills. So for skills, Ice Spear. In this order, by the way. Ice Spear, GMP, crit damage, hypothermia, cold pen, added cold. And again, if you're not liking the Ice Spear for clear, because it does have a little bit of a delay, Freezing Pulse is fine. And again, that's pretty decent clear. This is all against pinnacle damage, so should be fine to clear maps with that. It's really your preference. Freezing Pulse has insane, like, already pierces all targets, so yeah. I would say it's good. But I'm going to stick with Ice Spear for me personally. These are also non-awakened gems, so we haven't even factored in like a awakened cold damage, awakened cold pen, which we could throw in later just to kind of show. And then we also have this. You're wondering why there's 3 curses. We'll show that. So Arcanist Brand is the only thing you're going to be like casting other than your totems and like some movement skills and stuff like that. But yeah, Arcanist Brand is pretty much where a bunch of this damage comes from. Like again, turn it off, or we turn these off. Damage is still decent. It's like actually not terrible, even with no curses. But that's just to show you the general potential of it. So those are the skills. Items. Now these are things I think I could all get pretty easily. These won't take long, especially since I think a lot of the folks to be on bow. So let's jump into it. Pretty straightforward one. Probably have to cast one of those or craft one of those on, maybe the spell damage, but that shouldn't be too hard to obtain. +1 cold damage. Eventually, if you get a +1 cold, +1 spell, that's your chase one for endgame, and some projectile speed on it to help it transform faster. We then get just a shield, pretty much life, totem, and cast speed. Again, if for some reason you're doing a different variant, like not on the left side of the tree, you could always just get some crit damage on here. You can get some elemental damage. There's plenty of shit you can get on here, and it should be quite solid. But +1 totem, helmet, and again, we could heat shiver, which is probably what we'll end up doing. But that's heat shiver with +1 projectile too. But again, this shouldn't be too hard to get. And again, where's the helmet at? We would definitely anoint this with +1 projectile. Hey, get out of her shell. Cat's going crazy, dude. But yeah, I mean, heat shiver is definitely potential. Like, it's definitely stronger, but you don't have to have it, so I just have it off. But heat shiver definitely puts it to a next level if you want to. Now, soul mantle, part of every totem build. They took the +1 totem off of it, but it still does what you need to do. So we always run this, and it's just super solid. It gives you a free 7 link, and since you're wearing this, you're actually going to benefit from the 15% increased life from the mastery, so it's kind of nice in that regard. These will be dirt cheap. They always are. It's really easy to get a 5-link one like early, and a 6-link one within a couple days. Like usually like a week, they're down to two divines. Like I've seen them that cheap. So I gotta say divines, so I'm so used to exalts still. But eventually you could double corrupt this, and we'll kind of go in after to show the potential of what this build can be. We then have gloves. As you can see, I'm getting some decks in there just to help, but stacking a lot of resist. You get your cold resist or cold exposure and a nerve chance there. Very simple. I'll go into why we're getting a lot of resist later. It's for potential scaling, but I think it's gonna be expensive to get there. But it's just potential with the build. Same with the boots. Tons of resist. That's all we care about. Some chance to avoid ailments is cool as well. Amulet. +1 cold. If you get the +1/+1, even better. And then tons of resist, life. Nothing too crazy. Some stats. Kikuzaru, staple of the build. I just went ahead in the thing and changed it to 108 reduced curse effect. So pretty much what you could do is I think you get it to like either, I think it's 78. I forget. It ends up working out. But you get most of your curse resist here. And that's to avoid getting cursed when your totems die or you resummon them. Because every time you resummon, it counts as death. You get hexed. This is to prevent that. Now, between this and the god power of Yugal, you have immunity to curses. They don't affect you anymore. You can get cursed, but they don't affect you. So this becomes good. It gives you some attributes. And again, I'd probably keep the resist on there. I'd usually corrupt it, but the resist will be important later. Then there's this ring which came out, I guess, a league or two ago. And everybody thought it was going to be, I think it was last league. Everyone thought it was going to be like crazy expensive, but they really weren't that rare. They go for like 60 chaos. And this is what makes your curse limit insane, because you're getting extra, because I didn't even show my ascendancy, which we'll go into at the end. You're getting extra power charge. You just have 4 power charges on you at all times. So, why not? You technically have a 4 curse limit, which, in that case, I would probably just have like a cast with damage taken defensive curse on. Like that's how I would do it. Or maybe like, if you want to, just to put it in there, like you could do cast with damage taken, flammability if you're running heat shiver. Like there's so many different options. But yeah, it should be pretty solid. Should be pretty solid. You just get a ton of damage from it. It has int, which is kind of shit. It has cast speed. You could probably try and corrupt one of these when you're able to start farming currency to try and get some cast speed. Belt. Resist. All we care about. Jewel. Get some resist. And then again, we have Dying Sun, which you can see just there. It's like a million increase. It's like 5 million to total. That's the only one I put. The other ones are really up to you. Obviously a Life Flask, a Quicksilver, probably like a Granite, and then something else. Now we go into our jewels. We already went to the clusters, but then we have 3 jewels here. Self-flagellation gives you 20% damage for each curse on you. Seems pretty good when curses don't affect you. It's a standard totem, but this has been around a long time, this combo. So they just made it easier now with being able to use caster augments on your gear. It's sick. It's just free damage. It ends up being like 100% increase or something like that. Maybe a little bit more. Rain of Splinters. Totems fire, 2 additional protections, 30% reduced totems. Now, don't get confused. It's reduced, not less. That's like losing 30% increased damage. It's almost nothing for getting 2 additional projectiles. As you can see, full DPS is adding almost 5 mil. 100% worth adding it. Watcher's Eye. We just have Cold Hatred. Now, let's say we want to be a fucking Andy that wants to min-max this. Well, there's a couple things here. Well, actually, before we do that, let me just show the potential of this beforehand. If we stack the freeze thing. Very easy. Effective chill, which I think they already calculate that. Seconds of chill on enemy. This will be capped no matter what. But like, look at that. We're already at 30 mil full DPS. Not try. That's why I half want to start this, because it's just stupid. We're just gonna take that off for a second. Unnerved, they will be unnerved. Mana spent, because we're using Arcane Cloak on left click, so this uses 64% of current mana. So 50% would be like 700. We'll say it's almost 800 mana is what we're casting. We'll say 750 to be safe. That's our Arcane Cloak. But again, if I want to scale some of this shit, it just goes to stupid scaling. And it just does stupid numbers, but we're just gonna keep that off. I think we will have that though. See, we have 1 of each curse, so we're actually getting 140% increased damage just from cursing ourselves. And then the Silver's Pinnacle, okay. And then other than that, that's pretty much it. Let's go into like crazy theory crafting now. And again, I didn't even have Dying Sun on. Like, what's the point? So you'd think we'd stick with a wand and a shield. Maybe. The fact that they could skill tree, both have skill trees, maybe. We don't know if there's maybe +1 totem on the skill tree too. That gives you an additional totem. There could be. We have no idea. So we might, but this thing was like 20-something divines last league, I'm pretty sure. But our damage, as you can see, went to 52. What it does is it reduces your elemental resist. As you can see, I'm not capped, so I'd have to still fix that. That's what's crazy. It reduces your resist, but you deal triple damage with elemental skills. Now, the crazy thing is, this could potentially get a skill tree. Well, it has one. You just have to find the thing. So this would be like one of your chase items, for sure. Okay, so that's definitely what we're going for. Now the helmet, I think you definitely go Heat Shiver. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. The helmet that they're coming out with that's gonna have a skill tree could be good too. There's a lot of options. But you could definitely do stuff with this, like add spell damage to like flat cold damage to spells. There's a lot you could do with it. Now Soul Mantle. Let's say we look at this. And are my skills in my thing? Let's just make sure. Body armor. Now let's say, and let's look at the tags of Ice Spear. Projectile, spell, cold, critical. Okay, seems easy enough. Corrupt. We're just going to do one of the corruptions you hit, just to see. Now we throw that in the build. Full DPS just went to 60. Okay? Gloves. Pretty much going to stay the same. Boots. Pretty much the same. So again, these are just what you want to work towards. High resist. High resist with dex. High resist here. High resist here. I'd probably do this different and just try and get one with triple res, which would be crazy. Keep that like it is. Maybe try and get one of these with res on it. I don't know if that how much more that make it expensive. It probably would. High res. And again, we could do stuff like this too. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Stygia device. If you can get one without, do it. But Stygia would just help. But we can also catalyst. Yeah. So we catalyst it. And now it's like way higher, and then our resist look a little bit better. Jewel, pretty much what you want. Dying Sun, again, we'll flick that on. Pretty dumb. And then this stuff is pretty much good to go as it is. I mean, damage is absurd. Again, we turn this back on. But that's going to be a late chase unique. We also saw something that's going to let okay, so here's my copium. We saw and it would take two of these because you have to sacrifice to get a skill tree and hope you get lucky and get that one. I don't know if it's always the same skill tree on uniques or what, but they just showed, like I always forget it. It's that Greater Echo spell unique staff. They showed it had something that makes Ice Spear circle. Which is insane, because that could potentially be a shotgun mechanic. And I don't know if that's just unique to stabs on all stab skill trees, or if that's going to be just on that one. I think it might be just on that one. So I'd be excited to see what this has. Who knows? It might have, like, you deal quadruple damage instead of, like, it has some stupid shit. Or maybe it has a way to, like, reduce this threshold of resist. It's just, there's endless possibilities. And if we do the changes we just made, which realistically weren't much. Like, look, we don't even have an anoint on. Like, I don't even have an anoint on. Like, what's a good skill to anoint for this? Probably any totem thing. Those are 3.7s. %30 increased onslaught. I mean, that's pretty good. Marks. I mean, that's okay. Totem damage. See, something like this could be really good. I mean, there's just a lot of choices. Probably Throat Seeker, actually. Yeah, probably. See, so there's another 4 million. So, theoretically, we pump this the hell up. Pick up Throat Seeker. Have some actual other flasks. We're hitting 100 mil. Should be solid. And again, most of this early stuff isn't too bad. If I switch back, and the only change we made was we double corrupt this, we're still at 44. Really good. And again, we don't know. We don't know what the skill trees are going to give for these. There might be like +1 level, like certain elements on them. It could be a lot of things. I'm always curious too, like if I were to like take off that and put it in power. Not good enough, because Ice Spear scales really well off stuff. But that's pretty much that. We're also not using Awakened Gems, so let's Let's go ahead and for fucks just put that it's a greater GMP. Awakened. This is like super endgame, right? Yeah. So that's just stuff you can do. Awakened cold pen. And then again, awakened added cold. Gonna get +1 on the gem. I mean, this is just like it's just insane when you look at it. Just the potential this build could hit. And again, even if this stuff doesn't work, like that doesn't work, and I don't have my flask on, I'm out of charges. I mean, dude, this thing isn't corrupted. It's still over 20. Like, I think for League start, this will probably be one of the best ones. The only downfall is you're gonna die sometimes if you teleport ahead of your totems. Just always place your totems ahead of you. Teleport forward to put a chill on the ground, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. Done. Now, you could theoretically, too, if you want to, not saying you should, but there is room for even more stuff here. Like, we're running 1 aura, which is fine. But what about Veil Righteous Fire? There's another increase. If you want it, it's there. But, getting back to my note really quick before we end the video. I know I'm rambling a little bit. I think this might be a great solution in a lot of situations. If you're in trouble, it's like an oh shit button. I should say Val Arctic Armor. Val Arctic Armor. So it's 90% DR, and you're going to regen like mana and ES or whatever you need at that moment. Which in my case is a little bit more survivability. It will help against certain one-shots most likely. It's going to, if you're just entering a room and you go, oh shit, I didn't mean to enter it, you hit the button really quick and you're safe. You'll have to build it up. You won't actually run Arctic Armor itself, but you will run that, and your totems will still shoot. So I would highly run Val Arctic Armor in here, and I think your survivability will be fine, even without block, without spell suppression, without any of that shit. And that's pretty much what I gotta say. I think this will be one of the best League starters from 0 to forward, because it'll just be, you're safe because you're staying back, and then it just has good damage. And again, for some reason, if you don't like Ice Spear, Freezing Pulse is fine. It will clear. This is plenty of damage to clear mobs. And then for bosses, you just do this. So there's options. And I do really think this would be great. And that's where I'm going to leave it at. Thank you guys. This is video number 2. I'll be posting both today. Thank you so much. Take care.